Hey, it's Anodic. Some months ago I made a video that covered healing in Guild Wars 2 at a basic level, and in that video I said I would make the topic into a video series, one where I would discuss how it works on different game modes. I thought it would be a good time to finally follow up on that promise. It's been some time. In this video we will cover healing in the structured PvP game mode, how it differs from healing in PvE, discuss a few different support builds, and more, so stay tuned to the end. Before we get into it though, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell to get notified of my uploads. I'm almost to 1,000 subscribers and I'm hoping I can get there sometime soon, so if you're willing to help me reach it, I'd be extremely grateful. With all that said, let's get into it. To start off, let's talk about the role of a healer in PvP. The biggest one is to keep your teammates alive during fights, which you do through a combination of healing, crowd control, area denial, and defensive buffs. If your teammate has low health, it's your job to get to their side to move their health bar up. If someone is pressuring your teammate really hard, you provide peel for them. If you don't know what that means, peel is when you help your teammate escape from bad situations by pulling danger away from them. Whether that be by forcing the enemy to attack you instead, popping defensive cooldowns to prevent your teammate from taking too much damage, or crowd controlling enemies so they will have a harder time of reaching your teammates. You also want to have the ability to remove conditions from your allies as well, since healing someone for 2000 HP once won't matter all that much in the long run if they are being hit for 1000 damage over time from conditions, and if they are poisoned, you'll even be healing them for 33% less. Compared to PvE, being a healer in PvP has many differences to keep in mind. First is that you don't have many options when it comes to stat choices in PvP. Due to stats being equalized, the only way to affect what stats your build has are to pick amulets, runes, and sometimes sigils in the PvP build panel that contribute toward what build you want to play as. Over the years, many stat combinations have been phased out of PvP due to being too strong in the game mode. So only two stat types you can equip right now that have healing power on them are the Avatar Amulet and the Sage Amulet, which are there for power-based supports and condition damage-based supports respectively. When it comes to sigils, you probably want to run a Sigil of Energy and a Sigil of Transference on your weapons as well for more dodge roll access and increased healing power. There is also the fact that, unlike in PvE, let's focus is put on offensive boon uptime like Might and Fury, and more focus on things such as protection or situational stability. This is because in many situations you'll be fighting other players that have either boon removal or boon corruption abilities. So giving teammates 25 Might or permanent Fury ends up being extremely useless or even dangerous if they just get ripped off of you or corrupted into weakness or blindness. Even more so when it comes to Alacrity, since that corrupts into chill, which makes you move 66% slower and have 40% longer cooldown times as long as a chill remains on you. Those conditions are some of those that actively hinder your ability to deal damage or control your character in fights. And in the case of a teammate getting stuck in something such as a Dragon Hunter's Dragon Maw Elite Trap, this ability will help them escape it and potentially avoid being helplessly bursted down while stuck in a cage. Another thing to keep in mind is that in PvE, players typically are going to be standing relatively close to you and still for the whole encounter. On PvP, players are going to be running around and jumping on things, so you need to make sure that your ability to kite is on par or even better than your teammates. It will not only help them survive, but it will help you survive as well. On Capricorn, for example, if you're fighting on midpoint, you could kite the enemy by combining your defensive cooldowns and dodge rolls with climbing up the boxes next to the point and circling around the planters on the wall above. Just remember that when kiting, you want to eventually loop back around to the point, especially when your teammates are fighting on it. Once people notice that a healer is around, they will do anything in their power to remove them from the fight somehow. So if they start pressuring you a lot, don't be afraid to cut off the point. You may also have to chase a teammate that's kiting themselves to give them heals, which is why I say you need to be able to kite as well as your teammates can, especially because a lot of the strongest heal skills are essentially melee range. Now, a good support build will not only have the ability to heal their teammates, but multiple ways of making sure enemies will not have the easy of a time of downing them. Let's compare two of the healing builds that currently are seeing use in PvP. First up, we have Core Support Guardian. On top of the multitude of ways it has to heal its allies, it also offers defense for its teammates through multiple applications of the Aegis boon, protection, stability, and condition cleanses. It also has a little bit of resolution in its kit, which makes conditions deal less damage to yourself and allies. It also is quite amazing when it comes to area denial due to the line of warding, a line-based AoE that knocks opponents back when they try to cross it. You can either drop it in the middle of a fight to cause chaos for enemies without much ability access, or can use it when kiting away with a teammate to deny opponents a chance to continue the chase. The first option is quite an offensive option though, so keep in mind that if you do choose to use it that way, you may not have it available and you suddenly have to switch to defensively running away from a lost fight. It shield 5 skill, Shield Absorption, also was great for area denial due to it being a very quick AoE knockback that turns into a mobile barrier that destroys projectiles. It also has a Signet skill that can resurrect a target out of downstate. All of these combined make this build very effective at what it does. And on that note, let's talk about the other build I want to discuss in this video, Aurashare Heal Tempest. Like the Guardian build before this build excels at supporting teammates through healing, protection, and condition cleanses. An extremely strong part of its kit is that through aura sharing, you can grant your allies unique buffs that cannot be removed through corruption or boon removal. Fire aura burns foes upon being attacked by them. Frost aura will reduce incoming damage by 10% and chill foes that attack you. Lightning aura will stun foes that hit you. And magnetic aura will automatically reflect projectiles. Combined with elemental bastion and smelting auras from the Tempest and Fire trait lines respectively, every aura you give to your allies will heal and remove conditions from them. Quite a few of your hard crowd control skills are unblockable as well, coming from your Gale skill on focus, your lightning aura application, and your tornado elite skill. Just like the Guardian build we've discussed, it also has a skill that resurrect allies as well. As you can see, there are several aspects of these builds that cross over that make them effective in their ability to support allies. While certain things may perform worse than others in high-end PvP, when it comes to the scene overall and the nature of pugging in general, you need a support build that can still support your teammates while they're not necessarily working with you as a team. People will run away from their healer while low health. People will stand in AoEs. People will die in seconds because they didn't stunbreak or attempt to dodge. But that's where the healers come in. They need to be flexible enough to make up for their teammates' mistakes. And if you win the game because your teammates' health bars lasted longer than the enemies, then you did your job. With that said, hopefully this video provided a good introduction on the basics you need to learn as a healer in PvP. It might feel a little difficult at first, but as with anything, it takes practice to get used to. The best way for you to truly learn how to play as a healer is to get out there and enter unranked and work on improving yourself. And while you do it, keep the information that you learned in this video in mind. With that said, that's all for this video. Remember to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next one.